I simply want to declare the truth of what is going on here in this reality, and the truth that man, woman, all of humankind will become what they focus upon. These are the truths I'm here to declare to you. You will do with them what you will, because I trust the divine creation and that we will inevitably wake up. We will inevitably awaken. We're not talking about occult or magic power or anything like this. What we're talking about is pure divine law. It is in direct alignment with Source, the universe, God, Spirit, whatever you might want to refer to this as. And it is the very being that moves through every single one of us in our lives. But again, our attentions are very scattered. For example, briefly I'll mention, how often is your attention scattered to the focus of wondering what other people think about you? Okay, this is a very common one, especially in the West these days. People are struggling because of all of the social media, and there's just so much going on, and everybody wants to be able to be someone who matters and be unique, and others want to fit in, and it's just this whole thing. So how often is our focus scattered in these directions? As well as other variables, such as you are dealing with a reality that coexists and coincides with many other beings, such as myself, I am here, your friends, your family, they too are here, and you're dealing also with that divine being moving through them. So it is a collaborative picture, so to speak. It is a collaborative reality. Now, a husband, who, this may sound a little bit stereotypical, but it's not meant to be. A husband who finds himself so solely focused on his own business may find the indirect ripple of this being that this man has become, due to his focus, a business-centered man who finds himself annoyed and scattered with his wife and his children. But it is the result of his very focus. You see, this man has contributed to this very creation. And of course, his wife and kids are collaborators and contributors as well, so these are the variables. But we need to understand something, and though I know that many people would explain this in different ways, that's okay. If you keep yourself an open mind and an open heart and an open spirit, you may find a greater sense of alignment by the end of this video, and you may find that many of the so-called messes and scatteredness of your own mind, your own heart, your own spirit, your own being, that scatteredness we often feel, you may find that that comes together in a perfect union in this conversation, because that is why the divine mind is bringing this conversation into existence. This is, put in other terms, why you have called this message forth into reality, and why it is simply moving through me, is because we are ready for this to come into alignment for us. It's time to become unscattered. It's time to really see the variables, and it's time to tune in to what is really going on here. Because it's not occult power, it's not magic, it's not due to any of these sorts of things that often people categorize it as, and then it just becomes some woo out there thing. It becomes too esoteric. It becomes too esoteric for those who are interested to ever ground it in, and it becomes too demonic seeming to those people who are so deeply turned off and resistant to understanding reality and, of course, the creator and source of it. So again, I say to you, in this video, we're going to come into alignment with what you might call your true authentic power, your true divine focus, the being that expresses through you. But in order to do this, I would like to first share with you a sort of explanation to help you to align into this. You see what I mean? And again, many people might call this something different. That's okay. We are living in God's dream. Okay, God, Spirit, Source, infinite creation, the Creator, energy. It doesn't matter to me what you call it. I'm going to use God as the term, but please feel free to replace it with your own. We are living in God's dream. This entire reality is a dream that God is having. And this dream is expressing itself, this God is expressing itself through the dream, through all of the variables and all of the collaborators, which you and I are, by the way. It is God's will. The universe has been created by this. What science calls the Big Bang is really God's breath. And I've looked deep within myself, though it may not matter to some of you watching this. It does not matter to me whether it matters to you. I've gone deep within myself and seen that it was not a Big Bang. It was a breath. Breath. The same way the spirit breath moves through you. Breath comes out, and an entire universe comes into creation. See this? And eventually, the entire universe, all of reality, all of the material world, all of the illusion, Maya, whatever everybody calls this, will be breathed back into the source, and it may appear that the entire universe was swallowed up by a black hole. A void consumed everything. But it is that very void that everything is breathed back into existence. So I want to tell you something that may just very well blow your mind. It's certainly blown mine through all this time I've spent out here tuning in. We are in a sort of time loop. We've already done this. We've already had this conversation. God keeps breathing. Again, you can call it source, spirit, creator. God keeps breathing. And everything comes into existence and then returns to that eternal stillness. There's a brief moment of non-existence itself, and then the next exhale comes, and everything comes back into existence over and over and over again. And when does this process end? Very simple. When God wakes up. Because God is the one who is sleeping and dreaming all of this into existence. Okay? So when you hear people on the internet or in videos, which I certainly have in the past, say to you, wake up, you're dreaming. You see, I'm not really asking your human self to wake up, because your human self is part of the dream. I'm not asking the dream to awaken. You see, what I'm speaking to is God's presence within you, that very breath of existence, that very divine will of existence that lives within you. I'm asking God to awaken. God, wake up. This is what it is that I'm saying. For that to happen, and I do realize that this seems like it's not relevant to the conversation, but surely it is, or we wouldn't be talking about it, you see. For that to happen, for God to awaken, we all have to have God wake up within us, meaning we stop being autopilot, just illusion, essentially non-player characters, if you've ever played a video game, NPCs. We stop being like NPCs that just like walk around and we're just an illusion playing out. We're essentially what the East would call karmic momentum playing itself out, karmic energies unfolding, looping over and over and over again. And that is what will happen until God is realized within you. Now, I'm not asking you to become egocentric or narcissistic and start going around and saying, I'm God and I'm in charge of everything and you do this and you do that and money, here we go, fall out of the sky now. Okay, this is how a lot of people interpret this. But this is not what I'm calling you to. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to call you to anything in this conversation. I simply want to declare the truth of what is going on here in this reality, and the truth that man, woman, all of humankind will become what they focus upon. These are the truths I'm here to declare to you. You will do with them what you will, because I trust the divine creation and that we will inevitably wake up. We will inevitably awaken. But we all must do it together. There's not just one person who wakes up and then everything is liberated into the true reality, meaning we step out of the illusion into divine union with God, with Source, with creation. We all are in this together. And that is why those who awaken usually end up becoming teachers of sorts, but I think teacher is not the right word. Conduits for God, for spirit, for source that has awakened in them to transmit that remembering to others, like to you, I would say. It's within you. You already have everything you're looking for. You're not broken. You do not need any teaching from me because God already dwells within you. You understand this? Now, for anybody out there who's been subject to certain religious dogmas, which I was earlier in my life, I want to clarify something here because I know that this immediately freaks out a lot of the people in the West. Because in the West, Christianity is the dominating religion. It is the dominating belief system. It is the greatest energetic karmic momentum that pulls people into it and keeps swinging and keeping the world aligned with that placement. Now, if I were to tell you, if you were a Christian watching this, and please keep your own discernment, I understand that some part of you, and I mean, I'm not throwing shade or making fun of you, some part of you may be like, this guy has demons and he's trying to deceive me. No, I'm not. If I were trying to do that, or even if I was unconsciously doing that, the energetic karmic laws that express themselves through the very God that you worship would immediately come back in my face and devastate me in my own life and my own spiritual development. I'm not here to deceive you. It is in my best interest that you also awaken to the truth, that we all awaken together. I have no quarrels with you. I am not interested in pushing you down or deceiving you or manipulating you or feeding on you. I have no need of this. I'm living by the breath of God, same as you. Now, this tangent that I just had, I'm actually moving into a point with it, okay? Oh man, it sure is funny making these videos, I tell you. You say that God is not in us. Some people say this. Not all, but some people in certain religions. God is not in us. That is the demonic deceit, is what is been programmed to you to believe. And I understand, and I do not blame you for this. It happened to me earlier in my life as well. But what I want to express to you is then, why did Jesus Christ, who is your guru, your Lord, your master, your savior, whatever you would express this as, then why did Jesus Christ say to the man who is cold on the street and you did not clothe, then you did not clothe me? And that hungry person over there that you did not feed, you did not feed me. And also, you see, Christ is clearly saying, this is very clear, Christ is clearly saying that everyone is Christ. And you say Christ is God, everyone is God. Okay? The human being that is suffering, that you have the means to help, that you do not help, you're doing that to God. You're doing that to yourself. You're keeping us in the illusion by not reaching out the very divine hand that lives within you, that is trying to express itself through you. Okay? Now, second to this, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Okay, Jesus said this very clearly. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And for those of you who feel very fixed to the preaching and the religion aspect of it, I want to ask you a question. And for those of you who are not familiar with Christianity, you have not read the Bible, please bear with me for just one more minute, and then we're going to step into the next aspect. But it's important because I know that there are many Christians watching these videos because Christ consciousness has blessed my life, and I know it has blessed yours too, but we have to shake ourselves free of the parts that still hold us down into delusion. I know that you are here present watching these videos, and that is why I'm speaking to this particular crowd and taking a special moment here to do so. Do you realize that it was Paul, who established and is deeply regarded as being the one who made the most establishments of spreading religion and the dogma of how to be a Christian, and here are the rules you follow, and this is bad, and this is right or wrong, and this is what you're supposed to do. Paul is the one who did this. Jesus did not do this, okay? Now here's another interesting fact from Scripture, because I have read the entire Bible, multiple translations. Here's another interesting fact for you, my friends. Where did Paul encounter Jesus? Paul encountered Jesus, according to Paul, in the desert, where it was only Paul who witnessed and experienced this, because there's no one else to corroborate this throughout history to say, yes, I saw Paul seeing Jesus. Okay? Paul saw Jesus in the desert and then proceeded to go around and spread religion from his experience. Now, what did Jesus tell his disciples multiple times in the scripture? And I'm paraphrasing here. Jesus said to his disciples, "Many deceivers will come. They will say, 'Here he is, out in the desert,' and they will perform many false miracles in my name, and they will deceive the masses." My friends, could it be any more clear? Jesus was talking about Paul. He was illuminating. I mean, Paul literally said, "Here he is out in the desert." Now, we have massive historic evidence about Jesus being a real person who lived, okay? Whether you're a Christian or you've read the Bible or not, it is indisputable by atheistic historians that Jesus was a real person, corroborated not just by Bible scriptures, but by many other historical references in Rome and different parts of the world throughout those days and throughout the time. Now, there is extraordinary evidence that Jesus really was performing healing miracles, that these were not made up. There is zero evidence of Paul ever performing any healing miracles or having any encounters with Jesus. Do you understand this? The only person who ever says Paul saw Jesus and performed miracles was Paul himself. Paul was always talking about himself doing those things, okay? So I just wanted you to understand this, that the established religion was established and pushed into creation by a very clear presence, in my opinion, that Jesus very clearly said to his disciples before that time came was going to happen. I rest my case. Now, whether you want to agree with me on this or not, it does not matter to me, but for some reason, I felt guided to share that with you. Now, stepping forward, God lives within you, but it is dormant and sleeping because your focus has become scattered by what? By the illusion of the world, by the dream itself, okay? Jesus referred to this illusion, to this deceit, as Satan. Eastern mysticism, Eastern philosophies, and Eastern religions refer to it as Maya, the illusion. But they have two things in common. We're given personification of it, and we're given a means to understand it in each position here. But there's a common thread in it, and it is that the world, the material world itself, our seeking of the pleasures in this world keep us hooked to it, keep us latched to it. Even Buddhism, its own separate philosophy, even Buddha, right? Even Buddha, who transcended the suffering of the world, who experienced all of these different dimensions of consciousness, even Buddha very clearly said that attaching to the material world, clinging to worldly pleasures, was the source of our suffering. So we've got Christianity saying it's Satan who's deceiving us and keeping us in an illusion. We've got Eastern mysticism saying it's Maya, the illusion of the world, the dream that we have lost ourselves in as the God that we actually are. And then you've got Buddhism saying very clearly that the suffering and what keeps you hooked into the reincarnation cycle of karma playing itself out over and over and over again is from the attachment to the illusion. So my friends, so many of us are so busy fighting about I'm right and you're wrong that we're ignoring the common thread, which I personally, from my own experience out here of all the spiritual work that I've been doing, which I'm not going to get into in this video. It doesn't really matter. Who really cares? It doesn't even matter if you know my name or not. I'm just some dude just like you. I'm just a person living my life. But I've spent time going within, and I'm telling you, this common thread lives within me also, and it also lives within you. It's not just the doctrines and the religions and the dogmas and the philosophies and the books that have been passed down that have imparted this realization to me or even to you. You already recognize it within you. I know you do. So here's the deal. The divine creator lives and breathes and expresses through you, through focus. But your focus has been scattered. If the human collective, generally speaking, focuses, which in my opinion is obviously where we're at right now in the world, we've seen a great deal of time given to this focus of indulgence in things like food, sex, money, success, right? We've put achieving things and being some famous rich person on a pedestal of being the most important thing any of us could possibly achieve. So if this is our collective focus, then we collectively, through God living through humanity itself, we collectively decide together that our species is trapped in the illusion, because all of these things that we are collectively valuing are Maya, are Satan, are the illusion, are the attachments, are the physical desires. Now, I'm trying to communicate something to you clearly here. As long as you are fixed, you individually, because collectively, I'm just going to be honest, it's a problem. It's a problem that that's the collective focus. But how does the collective shift? By you and me waking up and pivoting, shifting our focus and choosing not to be a part of that collective mass human organism that is focusing on those things, because it's driving humanity into destruction. It's driving humanity deeper into the illusion, and it's scattering humanity's focus, which in a certain sense is like humanity stepping out of alignment with that divine, with God, source, with spirit. It's like we're stepping out of that, and instead we're aligning with the illusion. But the illusion's not real. And the second that it ends, and it will, everything in this world ends. It's a constant cycle of consumption. I mean, look, the only way your body, for most people in the human collective, can survive in this world is by eating food, which is really just you killing and consuming other beings that are actually you, because they are also God. So we're in this dream where we're consuming ourselves and eating ourselves and devouring ourselves, and we're stabbing ourselves repeatedly, and we're wounding ourselves, and we're hurting ourselves, everything that we do, because we have collectively fallen asleep into Maya, the illusion. We've collectively, as Christianity would put it, been worshiping Satan instead of God. That's just how Christianity describes it, okay? As Buddha would say it, humanity has attached to worldly pleasures and decided that those are the most important things in life. Comfort, movies, shows, sex, validation from your peers, getting the house, getting the job, getting the fame, getting the career achievement, making sure you get those bank investments. Okay? This is attaching to the illusions of the world. Now, again, this is what scatters our focus. What man, what woman, what humankind focuses on will inevitably become real, because that is how God lives through you in this dream. But if you are living in the illusion, okay, if you are worshiping Satan, if you are lost in Maya, if you are attached to your worldly pleasures, then you will not grant yourself access to this divine power that lives in you, because you're not living in alignment with that divine power. You're living in alignment with the creation that was birthed by that divine power. In other words, your energy's scattered because you're trying to use a painting to make another painting. But it was the painter who has the paint to paint a new painting. So I'm asking you, go to the painter, God, source, spirit, divine. Turn to the painter. And this is where you access the paint to paint your life, a beautiful picture with God. But when you turn to the picture itself, what has been painted, and you try to create from there, that's not paint, it is already painted. And you've lost yourself in the painting, and you've forgotten the painter, and you've forgotten that the painter lives and breathes in you. Our focus has become scattered, and it's not all our fault. We've simply fallen asleep, and our brains have become become confused by instant gratifications and pleasures and dopamine hits constantly firing off. Where people these days now are so exposed to constant movies with explosion and boobs on screen and video games and instant gratification of things are now just appearing at your door. You don't even have to go out shopping anymore. Okay, our brains have now become wired to crave more of the illusion. People are not satisfied with a truly hearty meal that is sustained and good for the body anymore either. They need horrible food to even feel good or feel relaxed at the end of the day. It's because this is what you have programmed yourself with by it being your focus. You have focused on feeling pleasure in the body, and that is why your reality has become that of needing unhealthy foods or unsustainable products that destroy you and poison you and also destroy and poison the planet, which is also you, by the way. And it keeps you tethered into this dream. So I'm asking you, it's true, your focus does create your reality, but this truth has been hijacked and has been brought into the painting, into the illusion, into Satan worship, into whatever you would call it. Okay, this spiritual truth has been hijacked and has been bred with falseness, that now we have people trying to focus their mind and focus their hearts to be able to manifest more unhealthy food, more money, more sex, more fame, more success. My friends, if you do this, it's not going to work. You're going to fall into the illusion and you're going to fall deeper into suffering. I promise you, you will. I promise you. And I'm not casting a spell on you to make it so. It is inevitable because the illusion cannot sustain you. It can only harm you. It can only bring you further from who you really are. It can only separate you even more from the divine, which is what you are actually here to remember. Because if this was a video game that we had logged into, which it's not, I'm simply giving you a metaphor, and you logged into this game, and the purpose of the game is to find God, to remember God within you, and you forget, and you start to believe the purpose of the game is to get rich and famous, you will suffer. For that is not the purpose of this game. That is not actually the truth in this world. But the illusion has tricked you. It's got you fed into it. And we've got the false spirituality now trying to direct people to focus, to manifest more illusion, more money, more pleasure, more whatever. This is just more falseness pulling you deeper into the illusion. And we all must wake up. So I'm asking you, yes, because I love you, and yes, also somewhat selfishly, will you please wake up with me? Turn to the painter. Stop clinging to the painting. Turn toward the painter. Because we are all trapped in this time loop that plays out over and over and over and over and over again for an eternity until we all wake up together. So I'm asking you, will you please turn toward the painter? Because earnestly and honestly, I tell you, I am ready to go home. I'm ready to unite and unify with God, to no longer be separate. But I am not hypnotized by the illusion into believing that that's what happens once I die. Because I know, because I've seen it for myself, because I've looked deep within myself, and all of the sages and mystics and even Jesus himself, my fellow Christian friends, have seen this. The invitation to that world, to that heaven, it lives within you, and you must access it now, because if you spend your entire life with your thumbs up your butt, worshiping the illusion, finding pleasure in the illusion as being your only source of sustenance, then all that's going to happen is this cycle just keeps regurgitating itself, and you might as well be living in this weird pocket reality that is not the true reality, which is what inside of you, your spirit really hungers for. Union with God, with divine, with spirit, with source. And I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't want. If you want money, if you want fame, go ahead and pursue it. I already know exactly what's going to happen to you in your life. I know what's going to happen to every single person who does that, because I know that illusion very well. And I know what happens to the people who don't achieve it. And I know that the worst happens to those who actually do, because they are trapped in a prison of their own making, and they themselves cannot escape the illusion that they have bought into and deceived many others into joining in. Join me in turning toward the painter, not the painting. I'm not asking you to hate the world or to spit on it or to give it the middle finger or to hate your life. Because without love, without appreciation for this world, for the illusion, we are inevitably actually flipping off the Creator. So I'm not saying to you to say, F the world. I'm saying to you, can you say, I love God in my heart? Can you say that in your heart? God, source, spirit, soul, energy. It doesn't matter to me what you call it. None of these names or terms can even capture the true, infinite, boundless, eternal life force presence that I'm talking about. You can call it light and love. I don't care what you call it. We are talking about the same thing. We are simply giving it different expressions. If within you, you can desire God, which is what I call it. If within you, you can desire God and turn from all your other desires for the worldly pleasures, and you choose and put within you the desire for God above all else, then you have, in a sense, just exited the matrix, my friend. You just beat the game. It's not some huge ordeal that you need to buy something from me to figure out. It's not a huge ordeal that you need some new teaching or technique. It's really very simple. Your focus creates your reality. But when you focus on the illusion, you penetrate deeper into the illusion and lose yourself in it. In a sense, and it's not quite like this, but for the sake of explanation, you are signing yourself up for limitless lives of incarnations, of future lifetimes, of being trapped even deeper in the illusion. The deeper you penetrate into it, the further you get from that true divine source. Because you continue lifetime after lifetime to identify with the illusion, and you lose touch with the real divine that's in you. But now we are living in a time in the world where many people believe that they are turned toward the divine, but really they are still in the illusion, and they are living in the illusion idea of the divine, not the true divine essence that lives and breathes in everything and within you, but in the false idea that you give yourself permission to eat as much food as you want, to have as much sex as you want, to manifest as much money and success and fame as you possibly want. And you give yourself permission for that by saying, I'm connected to Source, and God gave me this dream, and I'm going to dream it the way I want. But you do not realize, and I do not blame you for not realizing, but I'm telling you the truth right now. You do not realize that you're digging yourself deeper into suffering and illusion for an eternity. Not hell as a punishment that God judges you at the end of your life. That's not what it's like. It's a consumption. You will become the very things that you have eaten. You will become the very people that you have steered in different directions with your teachings or your ideas. You will become the animals that you eat, and you will yourself be eaten, so to speak. The divine is in you, and no one can be cut off from it. But what does happen to us is lifetime after lifetime, we lose touch with that truth because we continue to choose the illusion over the true uniting of all of mankind and all the species of the world and all of the galaxies and planetary systems and all of the extraterrestrial species that may exist out there. It's the unification of all of us together because we are all one. So therefore, it is time to unite in the truth that we are all the same being expressing itself, but we must individually, and therefore create the ripples for it to happen collectively, we must realize that that unity means it is time to stop walking and treading and trampling on anything that is around us, whether it be to trample on another person, or a plant, or an animal, or anything. And this is just a very simple cosmic, microcosmic level of this, by the way. But when we can start living consciously in this way, when we realize everything is you, then you would never deceive another person just to make a sale. You would never lie to another person just to get something that you want. You would never harm or abuse a plant or an animal. And you may say to yourself, well, Nathan, how am I to eat then? Don't I need to eat to survive? And I say to you something radical that I do not expect many people to join me in. But I personally am preparing to renounce food entirely, not to prove anything to you. You'll never know when I've actually done it. It's going to be personal between me and God. For all you know, I already have. I'm not claiming that. I'm simply making a point. The only reason I'm sharing it with you in this video is because I say, God, I desire nothing in this illusion. My desire is unification with you. And if I must surrender my body, if that is necessary, if my body, many of our egos must die in this process, and they will, and it terrifies some people. Your ego will be destroyed when you begin to make this shift. Not of renouncing food, but simply turning towards God. You see what I'm saying? But coming into alignment with what I'm saying about renouncing food is very simple for me. I would rather die than continue contributing to the cycle of suffering, not just for myself, but all of mankind. So I offer my body, I offer my soul, I offer my entire spirit and my mind to divine will. And if that means that my body dies, then so be it. But when you are truly aligned with divine, not your idea of it, you will find that the breath of spirit lifts you up and sustains you in a way that food, sex, pleasures of the world, materialism, never even touched the surface of. I'm not encouraging everyone out there to fast themselves to death, because your vessel might not be prepared for it because you have not yet surrendered to the divine enough for that to be so. But when you truly do, a time may come where you will begin to renounce things, and you will find that spirit sustains you and lifts you up. It is true, I'm telling you, that miracles exist in this reality, but they are not performed by the people who appear to be performing them, but that by the God, by divine, by source, that they have fully surrendered their vessel to. They have given themselves up to it. And when you truly align with God and you trust, the funniest thing is, if no one were to bring me a meal and I were to die, then that is divine will, and I'm okay with this. But I will not die. I will continue elevating in God consciousness, which is my entire human focus. My focus is on nothing else. Nothing else but unification with God, with Source, full dissolving into Spirit, that there may be nothing of myself that remains. No ego, no falseness, no clinging, no attachment, just a completely pure and empty vessel for God to live through. So I invite God to come and live and dwell in every cell of this body, and to wash away anything in me that would hold that back. That any of my other choices or focuses or distractions or scattered focus may unify to this source objective of unifying all of mankind and all of the universe with God, with Source, with Spirit. And that is what I live for. And that is what I will die for, too. In conclusion, my friend, your focus does create your reality. It's true. But a lot of the illusion, falseness-based spirituality of today that is really just people still pursuing the illusion and convincing themselves it's spiritual has hijacked that truth and turned it into trying to convince you that you can get all the money you want. You can get all the fame you want. You can get the biggest house on the hill you want. But I say to you that that is not the truth. That is just more of the lie. That is more of the illusion, hijacking the truth and brainwashing you with it in order that you may find yourself lost even deeper in the illusion. But I'm here because the unification of all consciousness and all galaxies, unifying with the true God mind, the true God spirit, the true life force, the truth that dwells and lives in all of us, in every moment, inescapable, undeniable, eternal, unkillable. That is what I am here to live and die for. And to... My camera keeps running out of storage space. I have to keep going and deleting other stuff. I was just going to say, I just love God so much. That's what it is for me. Simple. So thanks. Much love to you. If this video resonated with you, if you feel guided by Spirit, by God, by Divine, to share it with one of your friends or your family, please do. And thanks for trusting and listening to that call within you, regardless of whatever it is that it speaks to you about and from in this world. Come to find that everything we've been looking for has been within us, whispering all along, hey, here I am. But do we listen? I say, blessings upon you and I, that we do listen. Much love. See you in the next video.